Roberta often says, because she says like Axel was so great to both of you, but she felt like, and she's mentioned it a few times, that he really fought for both of you to be there. Like the other guys, not that they all were great, but I guess they wanted to be kind of. It was that big change with GNR going from like a tight knit band, rock and roll band, to this orchestral monster, which is the GNR I grew up with. I'm going to be 37 later this year. I grew up with Tracey and Roberta, November Rain. So that's
illusion.
That's my GNR. To also give them a plug, I guess, my gnrforum.com. I don't know if that came from me. Did you ever get that sense? How did you like feel on tour? That you were, a part of the band, or how were you, I guess, treated on tour?
Well, the way it was is Axel wanted us, right? It was part of his vision, right? To have this, add the horns and add the background vocals. The rest of the band, they were like, no, they didn't want us. And so Roberta was there before I was, fine, helping, like, okay, well, what kind of other background, if I get the gig, what do you want the other girl to look like? Do you want us to be bookends? Do you want us to have different types of voices, or how do you want the blend to be? So she was there before I came, helping them to conceptualize how to bring Axel's vision, which they didn't even want to bring to life. He didn't even come to any of that. That was Roberta with the band, and then it was me and Roberta with the band, and then he came after the horns were there, after the girls were there, to give his thumbs up or his thumbs down, and he gave us a thumbs up. But he basically was like, this is what I want, you guys put it together, whether you like it or not, that's what I like,
Wow.
And so
it seems like a gladiator moment, thumbs up.
It was a kind of a love-hate relationship, honestly, on the tour. A bit, there was a bit of a, we're costing more money, we're costing more hotel rooms, and they're girls and they're asking for stuff, that the roadies don't ask for because they're not roadies. And things like that. Like, they had us in these heels that were like this high on a ramp that was not designed for background singers like this. It was designed like this for them to run around, right? So it's like this, and we're in heels, so we're like in a slant, ready to fall into the stage. And they're like, well, we want you wearing those heels. And I was like, well, do you want us to fall off the stage in the middle of the show and you have a lawsuit? Like, it was like always a little bit of a tug of war in the beginning until we got it straight. Then everyone got it, and they saw Axel's. I remember when actually it started clicking and the magic started happening. And when the magic started happening and the band started seeing and understanding Axel's vision, and not just seeing us as like an annoying addition to their, taking away from their authentic rawness, when that magic started happening, the rapport changed. And everyone, there's less of a love-hate. It was more like an appreciation and a we're kind of like part of the band in a way feeling.
Do you feel like it motivated you to be like kind of, since other than being Axel's vision, to kind of, I don't want to say prove yourself, but just to show them that you belong there, I guess. Was there, or were you say, you know what, doesn't even matter what you think. This is Axel's, whatever he wants is going to happen. Like, it
wasn't really obviously clear that was the situation in the beginning. We learned that as we were there. So in the beginning, I didn't realize anyway, I don't think Roberta did either, that they didn't really want us to be there, but then after they accepted us, then they were like, we really didn't want you to be here, but we like you now, kind of thing. So it wasn't like they, you know what I mean? The tug of war in the beginning, I didn't understand it until the middle, when I understood why we had that tug of war over little things, and figuring out logistics and how to, treat ladies on the road, kind of thing. So, we didn't really, they weren't overt about it. They were gentlemen. They didn't tell us, we don't want you here, man. And they weren't like that. They were kind to us. It was just more like with their management, working out things, that there was always a tug of war. The guys were always kind and were always really cool. But Axel, it was his vision. And then as we were there and it started clicking, and they started seeing the vision, and they started getting used to us and started really opening and communicating with us. That's when we realized that we really weren't invited in the beginning by everyone. We were demanded by Axel, but then it started becoming part of who they were. And Use Your Illusion, that's how it is with music. I find I've been in several different types of relationships in music, like with different producers, being a producer, helping different artists with their music, being produced by people that don't get me as an artist, singing in background for a lot of different people in different situations where you can't just push your vision, because then the music will be a discombobulated group of visions. It has to come to a cohesive magic. And sometimes you have to give, and sometimes you have to take, and sometimes you have to push because that's what it is. And sometimes you have to acquiesce because you have to trust that other person and the process. So what I'm speaking about is the natural musical process that always happens when you're creating, especially something as powerful and magical as Use Your Illusion and the tour. It's just a natural part of the process, and you don't often know what's going on while it's going on. I was just like, wow, I'm here, they're amazing, I'm gonna get down and have the best time and just be my full self on stage. So I just wanted to give my full artist, self to help do what they wanted me to do. I wanted my voice to create, and my movements on stage to create, what they were expressing. So I kind of just delved my whole self into their music so that I would become a part of it. It would be inside of me while I was doing it.
I feel all of that. Yeah. I like all of that. I'm sure, I mean, you said a lot of insane, I can't believe this is happening to me stories, whether it's like a candle giving you Guns N' Roses, or, just Slash showing up in his top hat like it's a cartoon. Is anything compared to that Venezuela show? Or
I was not in Venezuela.
You were not at that infamous show?
There was a period I was not on tour for 1 month. We had a falling out for like 1 month over pay, actually. Okay. And that's when they went to South America.
So you missed that. Oh, wow.
Yeah, I missed that. My ex-husband, but my husband was on that part of the tour. So I know about it, but I wasn't there.
Oh, I can. What was going through your mind? Like, were you kind of worried about your friends and I don't know if he was your boyfriend at the time or husband at the time, but that's got to be crazy. Like, I could have been there, and you see like a military coup going to the country. It must have been, I don't know. That seems like otherworldly.
Being on tour with Guns N' Roses was always kind of an epic, crazy adventure. Like, I remember it didn't scare me. It didn't shock me. It was kind of normal, actually, by that point, because we were backstage a lot of times when Axel was late getting to the venue. And they were telling us, if a riot breaks out, this is where you run to, and this is where the cars are. Have your stuff packed. Be prepared, for, craziness, So it's always kind of like that.
How often would that happen? Like every show they would say, be prepared for a riot?
Not every show, but I can remember at least 4 or 5 times vividly. Mm-hmm.
Do you know, was there ever like a specific, I guess, for what you remember, or if you feel like it sharing that why he was late during that time period?
Well, actually, yeah, I remember now. So it only happened like 4 or 5 times in the beginning, because the head of our of the crew sat down with Axel and explained to him what happens when he's late. And once he realized that, they're all gentlemen, actually. Every single guy in the band is an astute gentleman.
I've heard
they're wild.
About that.
They're wild, but they're rock and roll, but they're gentlemen. And so when Axel realized, you know, what his lateness was causing, he wasn't late anymore. You know, but he was basically what I would say would cause it is different things, a variety of different things. You know, he was doing something, catching the jet and flying in, and for whatever reasons it was late. You know, all kinds of different things, all different reasons. But you know, there's often rock stars are divas.
And like, and part of me, like, I
That's
get,
normal.
yeah, we're
I'm
all.
always late. I'm always late. Okay, so I
I
can't
was
really
just
say
about to say that.
anything.